So, welcome back to the Cura podcast. This week's episode, we're actually kind of doing a deep dive into what is the Refocus program, which is the collaboration between Focus Health and Cura Romana in terms of what it offers, in terms of the transformation that has occurred with those participants that have been part of it, as well as some of the technologies, some of the modalities that are used throughout that process. So I certainly hope you find it helpful. Another thing that I wanted to add as well is that we have started our Christmas sale. And this is 20% off of the Journey and the Inner Circle program, as well as the returning members Inner Circle discount as well. That's also discounted 20%. And this is going to run until Christmas Eve. Now, the reason we're doing that is because so many people actually really like to use the Christmas Eve and Christmas Day to utilize their feast days. And some other people prefer to do it if they are celebrating New Year, then they'll take New Year's as one of their feast days. So if you're thinking about doing the Journey or the Inner Circle or the program in any capacity in this new year, then now is a great time to make sure that you've got your sprays and got your program ready for either Christmas or the new year. So yeah, and if you have any questions, just reach out. All right, I hope you enjoy this episode. Well, welcome back. For those that haven't been on the inside track here, we have tried to record this once and had it fail, and so hopefully all will be going well this time. So really, what I wanted to talk about this time is the Refocus program, and really how we've kind of worked together to really be able to support those that have some significant health challenges, and really kind of break down how the Refocus program works. I know that's a little bit tricky because it's so hands-on and so unique for the individual participant. But I will leave it up to you to try to navigate the quite amazing program that is not easy to describe.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly true. So the program is a collaboration of many modalities, therapies. It's an integrative approach that really did come together organically, I suppose, after years and years of working. So over the years, I suppose that I have worked on every aspect of myself separately. So I've worked on the physical body and on the structural body. I've worked through kinesiology to find imbalances in the body, correct the structure of the body, the muscles, look at the organs and the glands and the systems, do corrections around those, and very profound work. And I've also looked at the body from a detoxification point. And I suppose my very first encounter with real detoxification was doing Cura Romana. I just didn't know that I was going into a detox program. Really, I didn't know that at the time. And again, I know, as I said before,
it's definitely a best kept secret.
It is for sure. So as I said before, at the time, really, all I could see was weight, and I was really looking at that as the problem, instead of looking at all the reasons causing the weight, which was inflammation, very toxic, lots of heavy metals, high stress, all of these things that were creating this inflammatory body. So I was looking at it the wrong way around as such, until, of course, I did Cura Romana, which definitely detoxified the body. It detoxified the mind, and it created that space where I could wake up to learning and to further studying and to further interests, really. So from that level of detoxification, I learned, other methods of detox, like using homeopathy, using binders, juicing, all of these type of things. And then went further down the road into other therapies like ozone therapy, hyperbaric oxygen, and such things that I know we'll talk about again. But these are all of the things that kind of were coming into my attention, really. So I suppose from there, and definitely with Cura Romana, with that sort of wakening up, I then started to really look and understand that the body is really a culmination of stress. It's an accumulative stress that happens on and on and on and on, that creates these physical symptoms and physical difficulties in the body. So really, it's about understanding that the energy field holds all of the information. And whatever it is that you may be showing up with, and I suppose I am focusing, or have focused on people who are really quite ill, but I don't really mean it in that sense. I mean, everybody is feeling unwell in their own way. So, so they have emotional difficulties, low coping ability. They're fully functioning, but they've got brain fog and exhaustion and low mood, digestive issues, a lot of negativity in their life, perhaps, negative relationships. That might be romantic relationships, but it might be work relationships or family relationships. So all of these really comes down to this information that you have in your energy field. And this is the information that we're kind of reaching into to get to the bottom of what it is that is physically going on in your body. So this is a huge part of the Refocus program. It's really to look deep inside, and I think probably the big word for me, or the most powerful word in all of it, is to admit that there is something going on within your energy field, and that these patterns are something that perhaps you've been ignoring or keeping a secret, or keeping at bay at some level, but they're always in the undercurrent, and they're always in there being triggered. And when you can get to the very core, and when somebody can get to the place where they can fully understand their own stuff and fully admit and choose to take responsibility for their health from that place, I mean.
Yeah.
well, and that's when the magic happens. That's when the shifts and the healing really, really does change in the body, and the physical pain goes away, and etc. All the symptoms really can release and heal from the body. So
We've
I
also been
suppose I've been
taught as
years.
well. Sorry, we've also been
No, go
taught so
ahead.
much that the physical is the only thing that really exists, and it's sometimes very, very difficult to get across to people that we are physical, but we are also electromagnetic. There is a lot else that is going on within our system than the standard medical model will ever even attempt to look at. And what it reminds me, as you're describing, is when you have somebody that's in a survival state, which the majority, unfortunately, of people are in a survival state without even realizing it. You have systemic fight or flight reactions. And when you try to describe to somebody that's in that survival state of what would it look like to thrive, they cannot even possibly conceive of what that actually means. Because in survival state, there's no such thing as thriving. There's no such thing as perhaps a sense of joy or possibility or anything else, because the entire system is there to make sure that it does not die. And too many people find themselves in that situation, and they struggle even to have a sense of the possibility of something more, something joyous, something beautiful that can occur. And that's one of the interesting things about I often, having worked with people for quite a long time on Cura Romana, I've come to the conclusion that the body is an omnipotent animal, like a dog, or your best pet kind of thing. It loves us so much that it will do anything we ask of it, including harming itself. But it has the ability to heal. It has the ability to do almost anything. I mean, the possibilities are, and when you start to look at some of the surprising things that shift and change in people's bodies, the body is capable of healing. There's no doubt about it, but it will entirely respond to our commands, our thoughts, our patterns.
Yeah.
And until we realize that the body is responding to what we're asking of it, even if it knows better, even if it knows how to heal, and getting that across is like, for some people, that's an impossibility up until the point where they start to feel it themselves. And when they start to feel it, it's just a little bit of a sense of, oh my God, maybe something's possible. Maybe this is possible. And then a little bit further, and there's, oh my God, I didn't realize that this was possible. And they start to see the world in a completely different way, their own body in a different way, their own thoughts in a different way. They start to view the world, they start to view their relationships in a different way. And it's like this wonderful trickle effect that, you start with a drop, and then suddenly it's a waterfall. Sorry.
So, I mean, that is exactly true. But I think also it's worth pointing out that an awful lot of our impossibilities, if you like, that we can't move forward and we can't heal, and there is no other way. Most of that actually is other people's beliefs that we have taken on as our own. And whatever you've grown up in, whatever environment you've grown up in, whether it was, very volatile and hard, or, whether your home is lovely, but you were bullied at school, or, whatever the case is that this sets in motion, this imprints on the energy field, this pattern that you keep repeating and repeating. So most people look to the outside world, to blame. So it's his fault I feel that way, or her fault that happened, or the medic will fix me, or whatever. Most people will look to the outside. And what we're trying to do here is to get you to understand that you're the creator of everything because of this frequency you've got going on, because of this belief system, this limiting belief. So your body will always look for its match on the outside world in frequency. So if you believe that you've money problems, or that you can never find the right relationship, or you can never find the right work environment, or whatever, well then that vibration already exists within you. And if it doesn't, well then you don't look for that on the outside world. It's the same with an emotion. If you get really angry about a situation or at a person, that emotion's already resonating in you. It's just a match that's happening. So it's a response to a vibration that you recognize, that you already know is in there. So if you've never felt anger, you'll never experience anger. But just like that, if you've never felt joy, well, then it's going to be really difficult to experience joy because of the resonance that's going on, or the lack of it in your body. So this is the really core understanding of this work. If you can understand that you created it through your experiences and through your belief systems, well, then you can create something else. You can literally swap it out for something else. And most of it is patterns that have been imprinted. We've experienced them over and over and over again because we've lived with X person, or we've experienced it in school, or whatever it is. So we take that on as our truth. And then that's what's very, very hard, because your authority figure in your childhood is God. It's it's I don't mean literally, I mean it's king. If they say this is the way it is, well then this is the way it is. And the child usually just takes that on. So whether it's right or wrong, or negative or positive, is irrelevant. It's what the child has understood of something. So that's what we're getting to. And when you can realize that in the body, the narrative in the body, the dialogue starts to change. And then you can realize that the dots that you're connecting between the feeling of the limiting belief and the symptom, and the feeling in the physical body, are all connected. Well, then you can absolutely shift that around. So it's not about being sick enough to do the work, or not sick enough to do the work, or having a diagnosis or not having a diagnosis. It's not about that. If you just feel not you're struggling, you're not coping, basically it's for everybody. And I suppose the why that it all came together in the end was because I understood myself, and I know that there is a different way of experiencing life and a different way of living. And that can be for everybody, and it should be for everybody. And putting all of the things that I experienced separately over a long period of time, like a decade, it came to me, and Cura Romana as part of it, an integral part of it, it came to me to put the whole thing together as one program, really intensively working with somebody. So this, to point out, is done one-on-one with one individual person and myself. And within that, we can look at everything. We look at the structure, everything I mentioned, the structure of the body, the organs, balancing it, all the valves, the digestive system, homeopathy you need, the supplements you need, the therapies that you need, which is like pocket therapy, ozone therapy, hyperbaric therapy, infrared therapy. So you get access to this entire thing in that 5 days, Monday morning to Friday evening. with me, working literally in this very sort of safe environment of working one-on-one to get to the very, very bottom of the patterns emotionally so that we can clear the body physically, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
And
that's
such a
pretty much
beautiful thing as well, because it's so rare. I mean, I can't think of any place that I have ever heard of 5 days working with an individual person. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody actually, going that deep.
I haven't, so no.
Yeah. And that's really,
Yeah.
really beautiful. I mean, I tend to just try to find, kind of metaphors, and I often use this one for Cura Romana, which is like, if you wanted to climb a mountain, how do you do it? Well, you just put one foot in front of the other. But the nice thing about certain things that we can learn, like from the Refocus program or from Cura Romana or combination, is that it's like we can just take people to the first base camp or the second base camp so that they're not having to climb the mountain from the very, very bottom. They can start somewhere. They still have to do the work. There's no doubt about that. And that's something that's so hugely important, is to realize that they come to the realization of just how powerful they are. And they have to go through the experience, in many cases, of the fear of what it is to be powerful, of what it is to have the power to choose what is of value to you and what is not. It's that quote that was made famous by Nelson Mandela, but it wasn't his, which is that, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond all recognition. And that is largely the process of really, people need to come to that understanding. Now, the more we can do with techniques and programs and devices and things like that to help people come to that realization as quickly as possible, providing they're willing to do so, is fantastic. Because, as you and me know, doing this journey, I'm still on it and you're still on it, but to get to where we are now, it's taken me 20 years, if not more than that, particularly with some of the things of having to deal with early childhood trauma and things like that. So there's something lovely about really having that support and really being airlifted to use that metaphor again, the first base camp or the second base camp, to allow for it to take less time to come to the top of the mountain. So yeah, no, I love that. So can you describe kind of what people can kind of expect, at least in terms if they wish to do it, if they wish to do the program?
So I am in County Meath, which is very close to Dublin Airport. Is 25 minutes or so, as is Dublin City. So we're on that side. Where I am situated is in the country, very much so, and basically we have two buildings operating. One is my own space where only I work here, and then the other is a centre across the way where we have all of these machines, and our lovely Neve works over there. So she takes care of people who are just coming in and out every day, having a one-off machine or whatever. So basically the experience is really about, it's all about you. It's all about being comfortable and being relaxed. You're in relaxed clothes, everything is very, casual, and there's no schedule. It's not we have to do this and we have to do this and we have to do this. We do whatever we have to do on any given time, on any given day. And sometimes that means, we're doing structural work for most of the day. And sometimes it means we're doing other work, which is emotional work, for most of the day. So it's very relaxed, easy. And the person's energy and body really dictates what it is that we're doing. But the whole core of it is that it is a bit intense because you're just working with me, but it's for people to really get down and deep into understanding that most people think that what they've got going on, or this secret thing they're, and I use the word harboring or allowing to fester within the body, is they're the only person. And admitting something is really hard for some people. And once they've said, well, this happened or that happened, or I did this or I did that, it's the realization that I've heard it over and over and over again. And it doesn't, you're not the first person. And there's relief in that. There's relief in knowing that, jeepers, I'm normal. This is okay. I can get over this. And that's really wonderful. And you can just see the body from Monday morning coming in mostly all tense and nervous and, to totally, skipping out the door on Friday, because they've relaxed, their body's relaxed. The stress and the tension and the fear and the shock has left the body essentially. And they have woken up. And really that's what it's all about. And then of course, most people, not everybody, but for varying reasons, but most people will go forward and then work with you in Cura Romana, which is a further cleansing and awakening, and more. It's up leveling every day, as each day and each week passes, to the point where I've people who literally haven't worked in years because of their difficulties to back working full time, or gone off and done a degree, or whatever, traveled for the first time ever, or whatever the case is. So
or to take it literally, where people haven't even been able to walk when they first come. And then they're not only walking, but they're running, and then they'll go back to yoga, and then so it's quite beautiful to see. And I although I continually have examples of that, that I've seen personally. It always blows my mind every single time to see the transformation between the state that one person is in, and then on a short period of time, suddenly it's like, oh my God, who is this person? I want to know them. They're amazing. It blows my mind every time.
They want to know them.
Yes, they want to know themselves.
They want to know themselves. That's even more magic. I'm pretty cool, you say. Oh wow, but it's amazing. And that exact thing, a lot of people will say, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm meant to be doing. I never have. And that's the part where they're, how am I ever going to find this out? And really, it's about connecting, because they have literally lived in this part forever and never connected out of surviving or shock or fear or whatever. And, when they start to, drop into the body and realize on a daily level the wonderment of what it is to live and to enjoy it and to experience it, instead of wondering and waiting for the next, when in 10 years or 20 years, or when I get enough money, I'll go on a holiday, or, whatever. That is like the biggest example of missing the point that you can see. It's when you're living on a daily basis in joy and in peace and in calmness. Well, then that's when you're home. That's when you've made it. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautifully.
So,
beautifully said.
So it is wonderful, and I hope I've explained enough to to do it, to be clear on it. But it's the part where the emotional aspect is the tricky bit. And it is really logical, and it's just about finding patterns, understanding them, and then getting rid of them. We're not going to go on and on and on about things and have to go deep into reliving something or anything like that. It's not about that at all. It's about clarity.
That's a hugely important point. It's not about therapy. It's not about people reliving their traumas. It's simply about recognizing, as you said, the pattern, and then they can let it go. It's not a big thing. People think that it's like, oh yeah, I have this thing and I need to spend 10 years in therapy to deal with it. It's not. You recognize the pattern, you remove it. You may find that things will come up periodically, but they'll come up in a different manner, which allows you to deal with them with a much easier, in a much easier way. It's super important that we realize that it's not people having to relive their traumas in any stretch of the imagination. I think you've done a beautiful job of explaining it.
I'm not a counselor.
No.
It's not. I'm not counseling you. I'm helping point out, and it's that's what it is. And
putting the body, putting the energy field back in homeostasis, back in order.
Yeah. And no matter how long you've been this way, how intense it is, how bad it's been, how bad the symptoms are, so long as you choose to be open and to step into that responsibility for yourself and your energy and your health, well, then that's it. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to know, really. And if you could see that the sick body, the symptoms, the headaches, the foggy head, all of these things are messages. It's literally the body going, can you energetically release this pattern, please? Can you please change this belief system? That's all it's doing. It's just energy. And if you can understand that and take it as so you're coming out of that victim place into that other place where when something goes wrong, or if something shows up for me, or a person shows up for me, I immediately ask me why I created that. Why am I attracting that person? What do I have to learn? What do I need to shift? Where do I need to go? Am I meant to be doing something different? They're the questions. Years ago, it would have been, they're hurting me, they're blaming me, they're whatever. And that's the difference. So when you come out of that low vibrational frequency of blame and anger and all that, and you rise into a higher frequency of respect and joy and honor and all of these wonderful things, well, then that's what you attract. So the rare time something shows up is your question. What do I need to change? What am I not seeing here? And if you can just change the way you think about things and even be open to that at all, well, then energetically things will already start to shift. So anyway.
Beautiful. So how do people get in touch with you, and how do they find out more about the Refocus program?
So the website is focushealth.ie, and all the information is there about the center itself, as in the machines, the therapies, which is a separate thing. If you want to just want an ozone sauna, then that's all you're booking. And if you're going to book with me, it literally says that. But if it's the Refocus program, I do ask people to email me to inquire about it, because I do like to chat to people to make sure that they're on board. It is a commitment. both from my part and from their part. So I want to make sure that, you know, somebody's ready, because sometimes they're just not ready. They're not ready for it. So yeah, you can just email me, which is Gemma@focushealth.ie. And you know, give me your phone number and I can chat with you and just see how you feel about things. And all the other therapies are just on the site, so you can just book whatever individual one through there.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Mm.
And we'll speak again.
Thank you.
And we'll cover some of the other modalities, some of which I know very well, and some that I don't know very well. Yeah, so we'll save that for next episode. But yeah, thank you very much. That was very beautifully explained.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.
So I certainly hope you enjoyed that episode. A lot of different things have been covered. And in next week's episodes, we're covering one of my favorite modalities, which is ozone therapy. And in particular, ozone therapy using the Hocket, which is an ozone sauna. That's something I'm really looking forward to, because it is a big passion of mine, and I've used it for many, many years. And don't forget as well that the discount for Cura Romana is happening and will happen up until Christmas Eve. You can get 20% off the Journey in the Inner Circle program, along with free shipping as well. And if you want to learn more, visit curaromana.com. And if you also want to learn more about Focus Health and the Refocus program, then you can also visit focushealth.ie. All right. Lots of love. Bye.